Knox side, sends one to the left circle, and the shot scores! And the Zydeco skate off with a victory. Welcome here inside the Queen here in Baton Rouge. We thank them and 1717 for allowing us to host this coach's show. Live here inside 1717 inside the Queen. It is the coach's show. We welcome you inside here. My name is Brian Flores. Join alongside me is head coach Everett Thompson as we get ready for the final homestand of the 2024-25 season, and one that has been a lot of highs, a lot of lows, but we're heading into this final weekend with the playoff push here to end off. My name is Brian Flores, and joining here inside the Queen here at 1717 is head coach Everett Thompson. Welcome back here, Coach. How you feeling?
Good, good. Just always good to be back at home here, in Baton Rouge.
So as we head on here after the weekend, let's recap what happened here against Athens. A lot of close games, again. I think that's a common theme with these Athens Rock Lobsters. It's like this, despite the final score, it was really a weekend where, it could have been 3-0 the other way going around.
Yeah, those games are all, especially the first two there, the scores are really close. They're, one-goal game that first night there. Few bounces got to go our way. We didn't get the puck luck necessarily that first game especially, but it's good to see that, we're still competing with one of the top teams in the league here, night in and night out.
So just getting into it, there's a lot of headlines coming into this game. Just let's go to the first game here between the Zydeco and the Rock Lobsters. So in the first game, three storylines that popped to my attention is Larwood finding his first goal in over 15 games against the Lobsters. So you think it was kind of like you see a different aura to him when he got that monkey off his back?
He's been battling through it. He's one of those guys that every game he plays, he could probably score 2 or 3 goals. The puck just sometimes doesn't go your way. He got some, he finally pops it, and, we just hope it's this time of the year with this homestand coming up, he just gets hot right now.
And the next one, Kuznetsov and Alexanian, they actually led the team in points with 2 goals for Kuznetsov and 1 goal and 1 assist for Alexanian in the first game. So what did you see from those two?
Yeah, the puck falls your way sometimes and it goes to the back of the net. It's one of those things where, anyone at any moment this weekend had the opportunity to put the puck in the net. Those two are, beneficiaries from, doing the right things.
All right, and finally we have Alexanian getting the goal in the final moments to keep things alive. And, that's one thing I noticed here from this team. Late in that game, there was never a sense of quit in that squad. There was never a moment where they're like, the game's over, let's just pack it in. That last shift just showed you the amount of character that this team has, into the final moments. And it was in the last 20 seconds that they found the back of the net, and still they pushed all the way to the final whistle.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you don't have the don't quit mentality can take you really far. Unfortunately, just kind of ran out of time there. But, yeah, at the end of the day, we didn't give up there. A couple more minutes there, we might be able to get our back into overtime there and get some points. Just, the unfortunate way the game goes sometimes.
So just taking a look here now, moving on to game number 2. Although they didn't find the back of the net, in my personal opinion, and again, just watching from the booth, it really showed that the Zydeco had I think that this was their best game offensively in the series, just because of the zone time that they accumulated. And not only that, but the power play unit just seemed to be sparking alive. Again, didn't find the back of the net, but they were able to kind of like force their weight in the Lobster zone.
Yeah, a 3-goal game, if you look at it, it was, they just really got 1 goal per period. And if you break it down in that sense, it's either way could have gone for that game. It just, yet again, we didn't really get a bounce our way. You get 1 bounce, and like I said, it's just a game of every period. They scored 1, we didn't. If we get a bounce, it's a totally different game in that sense. So it's one of those things where, yeah, we did get some good offensive zone time. We had some really good opportunities as well. Just the puck sometimes doesn't go your way. That's they call it the beautiful game sometimes. There's hockey gods out there that, they're listening and they're seeing it, and sometimes they just are not going to help you out in those situations, and everything happens for a reason. That's what you just got to believe at the end of the day.
And just looking at game number 3 after that second game shutout, it seems like, it was going to, for the first, I would say 15 minutes, it was going to be more of the same. The Rock Lobsters just finding ways to find the back of the net and just stinging the Zydeco. But again, you got to give credit to your guys. They battled back from 0-2 and able to tie things up. But again, in that first 40 minutes, they seemed to look like they were taking charge here against these Rock Lobsters, living in their offensive zone and kind of getting into their skin a little bit, getting into their heads.
If you look back at it, there's a few things that occurred, especially in that first 40 that unfortunately didn't shake out the way they should have. The rules are the rules, and unfortunately the people that are in charge didn't take advantage and do the right things in the situation. So, we didn't benefit yet again from getting a bounce in that sense. And, it really stings. And, you're battling and you're grinding in playoffs, and, you just don't get any benefit from, the higher up sometimes. It just, makes it a little harder. But it's one of those things where, you don't get those bounces, and sometimes they do change the way the game plays a little bit. And, just another one of those things where we're really proud to see that 40 minutes. Really good fight for us there. Really did think we were taking that step there to take the game. And, that last 20 is just something, you want to, kind of put in the back seat here and move on past. Just, really unfortunate period. And, it's just sometimes how the game goes.
And a lot of positives, though, on the weekend to focus on. Thomas McGuire actually coming into this weekend was leading the teams in the past 10 games in points, just couldn't find the back of the net, finds his first, tying the game, and as well as Ethan Matcham doing the same, finding the back of the net for the first time this season for him. So again, a lot of positive narratives heading into these final 2 weekends of the season.
Yeah, you hope guys find their first ones of the year, just continuously can find it here. It's a good time of the year to get hot, per se.
So now as we head on to the kind of recap here, just want to talk about a few players for the Zydeco of note. Bailey Stevens starting off, saving 35 of 38 in the second game, keeping his team within striking distance, even though, again, it was a shutout for the other way. Bailey in this game seems like he could have earned himself a shutout with a .921 save percentage.
Yeah, Bailey did his job. Anytime a goalie gets under 4 goals, keeps you in that 3-goal margin. Especially, he puts us in the fight. Especially like I said, the first period 1 goal, second period it's 2-0. So in that sense, the entire game it was within striking distance and within reach, and we had opportunities. It's not like we didn't have chances. I think we hit a few posts as well. It's just one of those things where this time of year the games get hard, and they're hard to win games this time of year. And with this young group of guys, it's one of those things where early in the year we were kind of doing things one way, and everyone was kind of, I'm not saying there's a different buy-in, but there was just a different process to it. It's a little bit early in the year mistakes you can catch teams, and now teams are tightened up, and every little mistake that you make necessarily might not be costly, but you might not find as many mistakes. So you got to really take advantage of your opportunities this time of year here. And kudos to them. They made some timely saves and got some calls and times that worked out for them. And that's just how the game goes sometimes. But with a young team here, we're still learning how to win games. And this is the time of the year where winning games becomes really hard. So we're in a tough division here. We had a hard schedule. There's no debating that at all. And we got through the gauntlet here. Is it the best way we wanted it to go? Probably not. But at the same time, we learned a lot about ourselves here, and it's only going to make us stronger going into these last 6 games for the playoffs.
And again, you guys faced a lot of adversity here in this weekend, and none more than Ethan Matcham and Thomas McGuire. Again, as I mentioned, heading into this final weekend, not able to find the back of the net. They were able to find their first goal of the season. Do you think that that's one thing that really just kind of shows out for them?
Once you find the first one of the year, typically you like to find it in October or November. But if it comes this late in the year, then it usually means that the right thing's going to come, and hopefully you get hot this time of year, and it's a good time to get hot. If you don't find your first one till now, that means later if you find it now, you're going to have some chances to, hopefully in the playoffs. If we still got to earn that there, but hopefully when we get in there, that just continues into there.
So finally here, just looking at Kim Miettinen as well as I'm going to say, just because we have him here too, but Gehrig Lindberg. Looking at the stats for Kim Miettinen, scored 2 assists in the final game against the Rock Lobsters to tie things up 3-3 heading into the third period. And just since he came back from the SPHL, Gehrig Lindberg seems to have had a really presence here in the lineup where it seems like other teams are starting to take notice and starting to lock him up a little bit. Taking a look at these two defensemen, what did you see out there from their game?
When guys come back down, it's one of those things where everyone kind of knows. It's not a secret. Everyone can see transactions. They know where you come from. So, everyone wants to prove it against you. It's just one of those things when you go to the next level and you come back down, you got that, little blockade on your back for a little bit there. Just what it is. At the same time, you're expected to perform, especially this time of year. So, those guys, they're doing their jobs, probably need a little bit more here going into playoffs here and getting these last 2 weekends here out of everyone. So, we hope they continue to play well here and to carry us, to get some wins.
All righty. So, just rounding things out before we move on here to the numbers, just want to get your final look here at the series between the Zydeco and the Rock Lobsters. What's a couple of goals that you had going into the weekend that you feel like this squad achieved?
At the end of the day, we didn't get the points we needed. That's what this game is. You got to get points, especially this time of year. We learned about ourselves in a sense that, we learned that we can compete with them. At the end of the day, though, we know what we have to do now in order to beat them. We got to focus a little bit more here, play a little bit more our style game. And, did we do that? Ultimately, no, we didn't. So that's one of the things you got to look ourselves in the mirror and learn to get over that hump. And hopefully, when push comes to shove in a couple weeks, if we get to that spot, we'll be ready.
All right, so what kind of adversity do you feel like your team is facing coming into this weekend? Again, backs against the wall, especially coming against I would say a 500 Watertown Wolves team looking to kind of play a little spoiler here now that they've clinched playoffs.
I don't think there's, adversity in anything that we have to face. We're at home finally. It's one of those things where, it's nice to be at home. You just got to do your job here now that we're at home. You take advantage of the crowd on your side and, hopefully there's not as much adversity. When you're at home, everything should be in sense, you're sleeping in your own bed, you get to eat at your own restaurant, that's when the game becomes easier. So, you're not traveling. Everything in a sense is on them. So they got to come all the way down here and play us and, advantage us.
All right, again, finally getting into this final couple of weekends here on the season, final homestand. What's the morale in the locker room heading into this first series against the Wolves?
It's got to be good. Guys are excited to play, some meaningful hockey down this way, and that's why guys like to play. Meaningful games are what you want to do at this time of year.
All right, so speaking of meaningful games, it's a push for the playoffs here heading into the Raising Cane's River Center. Let's see if we can scout these opponents coming into this final home stretch. First off, it's going to be the Watertown Wolves for 3 games, and then they're going to be taking on the Monroe Moccasins, and then finally wrapping things up with the Mississippi Sea Wolves. So before we get to those guys, let's get you on to a break, and then we will scout out the Wolves here on the Coaches Show here in the Queen here in 1717. Stick with us.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
We do things with passion. Everybody here really is invested. So if something can be done better, we challenge the status quo.
We've gotten very good at roofing. We're good at the actual work, but also the documentation from the beginning. Getting everything with the client, what do they need? What are their needs? And then how can I give them a couple of options? And then from there, during the process, they know what's going on. And then at the end, feeling good about everything that's complete, and they're happy when they're done with their job.
At Don Seafood, our weekend brunch isn't just a meal. It's the moment you've been waiting for all week. Begin your legendary weekend with brunch favorites like our shrimp and grits, crab cake benedict, and of course, bottomless mimosas. Let's be honest, the party doesn't start until Don Seafood hits the table. From our team at Don Seafood, we want to thank you for the past 90 years and cheers to many more together.
For the ultimate game day experience, come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktails. Wall-to-wall, state-of-the-art TVs mean you'll see every touchdown, Hail Mary, and big turnover in crystal clear HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. So come out for game day and let our team make you the MVP. The Queen Casino in Baton Rouge, where every moment.
Welcome back here to the Coach's Show here in 1717 here in beautiful Baton Rouge, Queen. Next weekend, this coming weekend, I should say, the Zydeco going to be taking on the Watertown Wolves. So, scouting out here for the Wolves, taking a look at the numbers, they have 210 goals for, which is third in the Empire Division, 192 goals against, which is fourth in the Empire, and they all kind of goes out to a plus 18th differential, which is fourth place in the Empire. Their power play stands at a 25.6, which is first in the FPHL by and far, and a 79.9% penalty kill, which is seventh place in the league. So far this season, they stand at a 22-23-5 with 79 points, which is fourth place in the Empire Division. This is going to be the first time these two teams have played. And the Wolves, as of late, I wouldn't say that they've been struggling, but still treading just above water so far this season, in the past 10 games with a 4-5-1 record. Top players for the Wolves, you have Trevor Lord, who leads the team in goals and has 8 points in the past 3 games with only 2 penalty minutes. Trevor Gaspy has 58 assists so far this season with 7 points in the past 5 games. And David Gaeta has the best points per average on the team with 77 points on the season with 6 points in the past 3 games. So, heading back here to the beautiful Queen here in 1717. My name is Brian Flores, joined alongside head coach Everett Thompson. Just taking a look here at these Wolves, what do you gauge?
Yeah, it's another battle of a team that's coming in here that's kind of, fighting its way to get to, they're in the playoffs, but, they're fighting the way to get to, some seeding as well here. No one wants to be in the 4th or 5th seed, really. And, you want to get into those 2nd and 3rd spots, so they've got a lot of reason to play hard this weekend here. We're obviously battling for our playoff lives here as well here, so that's a lot of compete for us here, so it should be a really fun weekend.
And just looking across the bar, I actually noticed one of the teams that I cheer for, the Los Angeles Kings, during their 2014 run, had a lot of games with their backs against the wall. So heading into this final weekend, that's where champions are made. Backs against the wall, got to fight hard. You think your group is up to the task?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where the sooner you get into these type of situations, it's for the better. The more games like this you play in, the more it, not to say that it becomes just more normalized, but it just, it just becomes another day in your life as a hockey player. Now, once you get through a few of these types of games and you get some confidence from winning one or two, it really just kind of takes momentum from there to take its place. So, it's one of those things where we've really got to do the right things. We know what we have to do in order to win, though. We've been a successful hockey team all year here. A couple bounces when you're on the road during these stints, they're tough to get. And we're really excited to get back at home here, have our fans on our side here, play on our ice here and, defend our turf. So it's one of those things where we're excited to be back in Baton Rouge here, These last 6 games are huge for us here, and, we're really excited to get everyone back here.
Yeah, it's going to be the first time that you guys have played back-to-back home game weekends here since the first part of the season.
Yeah, we have it's a tough schedule, and it starts to weigh on you, and I think you forget how meaningful it is to play at home until you haven't played at home in a while, and then you get to play an opponent that like I said, they're fighting for playoff seeding here. We're fighting for playoff seeding here. Lots of emotions on the line here. It's games that matter in April, and that's what there's not many teams that are playing this time of year still that have games that are meaning a lot. So it's it's one of those things where you got to really dig in deep here, and everything you're going to earn is you're going to work for. So it's one of those fun things about hockey here. This is when the real players come to play and show up.
Yeah, I would say the Zydeco, definitely you guys are in the more competitive division here, as you have a team from the Empire coming in and the Watertown Wolves. So, again, with the Wolves kind of solidifying their playoff standing and their playoff seeding here, they're trying to, get back and right the ship a little bit. They're in the past 10 games, they're 4-5-1. You guys 7-2-1. And, again, with you guys fighting hard, not only for playoff seeding, but trying to solidify a playoff scenario here, trying to just lock your way into the playoff round. So, heading into this final kind of homestand, what's one goal that you have here against the Wolves specifically?
Yeah, it's just one of those things where hockey's it's a crazy game. So at the end of the day, we want to get back to playing our style as much as possible here. This is a team that looking into it, this is a game that I'm not saying you should ever go into a game and say you can win. You never ever look at an opponent. These are games that are very winnable. These are games that we should, be able to, go back to playing our style. Not that Athens is, a different animal, but it is just a different animal. You've got to look at every opponent a little differently and thus, realistically as well. This is a game where, if we do the right things, we do the little things right, we do the little things well that, we've been doing all year. I'm not saying to say the puck luck, but, the bounces will, kind of should formulate themselves. Hockey is a weird game at the end of the day, but there are things that you do dictate, and hard work is one of the things that I think this group is really determined to after that that 20 minutes that we had to last. It really leaves a sour taste in your mouth here. So you really hope the next outing you have is it's going to go better here, and that's the only thing you really do dictate is the next outing you have. So that's all we're looking forward to right now.
And just taking a look at the schedule here for the Watertown Wolves. In their past 5 games, actually, they actually played Carolina, then Binghamton. So it's one of those things where it's like it's not like they haven't played high-quality opponent themselves, but now you take a look at last weekend. They go down to Danville to take on the Dashers Hockey Club, and they win 2 straight there, 6-5 and 5-3, while you guys were in Athens taking on the Rock Lobsters for 3 straight. Is that also something, as a coach, that you take a look at the quality opponents that they have faced as opposed to you guys?
I think it's one of those things where they have to, they face Binghamton a lot. They face quality opponents like you see Carolina in their last 5 as well. That's a really quality opponent here. It's nothing that we haven't seen all year as well. So, the schedule is the schedule. You got to play who you got to play. These things come out in the middle of summer. Who you're playing way before you do. So, this level is, I think it gets a little, who the opponent is gets a little overlooked sometimes because, hockey's one of those weird games where, as long as you work hard, bounces are going to go your way. The puck is going to do weird things, One day you might win 9-1. The next day might be a 3-2 win the other way. We've had exact situations like that this year happen. So, hockey's a weird, beautiful game.
And not only this year, but last weekend is a perfect example of that. In the first game, lose by a nail-biting 4-3. And pretty much, I would say, again, you mentioned final score. You get 1 goal in the first period, 1 goal in the second. 4-0 was actually the final of that second one, including the empty netter. But in the final game, 9-3, and again, you take out the last 20 minutes. It was pretty much a 3-3 tie heading into the final 20. But again, you guys have had a close-knit series against the Athens Rock Lobsters, now heading into a series against the Watertown Wolves, and a lot of momentum, no doubt, carrying through.
We got to find, you got to find the momentum in the right ways. Like you said, there was glimpses against a really good opponent that we did, and we did do some things the right way. It's just piecing it together for 60, and the fun part is a team we haven't seen yet this year, and but yet again the playoffs implications are still at play. So that's what makes it fun. Just because you haven't seen an opponent doesn't necessarily mean right away that there's not going to be some flair. That's the best part about this level of hockey is that as soon as you add any amount of something to the game, these guys are going to go and play even harder. So it's one of those things where these guys love the game. That's why they're here. That's why they're playing. And with respect to that here, they want to win hockey games too. They want to win them the right way. They want to do it the right process here. And at the end of the day, that's what we have to start doing again here. And if we stick to our process, we do what we do well. The results are going to come. That's just we've proven it ourselves throughout this year. We just got to like I said, piece together a full 60 here, and we'll see what happens.
All right, so I guess one final question here before I let you escape, and it's a question that popped into my head during the break we had from the second to the third game. I saw a lot of offensive brilliance from this team. A lot of offensive sustained pressure from against a team that really is their bread and butter has been just smothering defenses from around the league in the Athens Rock Lobsters. But I also saw in your guys' gameplay a lot of times where you lock down the Lobsters defensively. So I want to ask you, and again, just as a head coach, just from a distance, from a guy just watching the game from the booth, where do you see this team trending? More in the offensive category or more in the defensive category?
Yeah, I think we've talked about this almost every week now, and I think my answer is going to be we're always, especially as we get deeper and deeper into these playoff waters here, it's defense. Defense is what ultimately wins you games. It's the only thing that you do truly control. You don't always control if a goal goes in the back of the net. The bounces are too weird, goalies are good. So the one thing that's constant in hockey is defense, and you can win a lot of games 1-0. You can't win a lot of games if you're giving up 5. So it's one of those things where our goaltenders do keep us in a lot of games, but they do have some support by our team playing a lot of structured defense. And the guys do sacrifice their bodies. They do the right things. They work really hard. Defense is one of those things where when you don't have the puck, it's not exactly fun to play, but it's the attitude and it's the resilience that really shows in those situations and moments. So defense never stops. Offense is fun. Offense is the reward from playing good defense.
Yeah, and again, that's why I asked it again this week. I know I asked it last week for the trending of defense versus offense. But again, just looking at the weekend that you guys had against the Rock Lobsters, there was a lot of sustained offensive zone time. And again, yeah, it did create a little odd man rushes back the other way. And I know Rio Namiki actually had to take a forced penalty because he nearly turned it over at the blue line. But again, just looking at the trend here from both the Zydeco and the Rock Lobsters weekend, the Zydeco seemed to be having a more of an offensive rejuvenation here, especially when it came to that second period in the third game, able to score a couple straight, able to tie things up 3 apiece going into the third period. And then, again, that last 20 minutes, not exactly what you would want from your squad, but it seems like the Zydeco seem to be waking up in terms of the offensive side of the puck. And again, I know you mentioned offense is kind of like the cherry on top for the defensive fruit of their labors. But again, at the end of the day, you look at games like the second game. guys played stellar defensively, only gave up 1 goal a period, and again, just couldn't find the back of the net. So offense needs to be a part of the equation, in my opinion, too.
Well, I mean, the quality offense comes from quality defense. If you look at it, where you cause the turnovers is going to lead to better success on offense. That ultimately is defense. So, it's, they play hand in hand with each other.
All right, so we got one final guest here before we wrap up the show. Gehrig Lindberg will be our Momentum Building Services featured player interview. So thank you so much for joining us, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, we'll head back here with our player interview right after this. Stick with us.
For over 90 years, Don's Seafood has been a Louisiana staple. From the finest Gulf catch to the most authentic Cajun recipes, our commitment to quality and tradition is who we are. Enjoy favorites like our gumbo, jacked up shrimp, seafood salad, steak, and of course, our signature seafood platter. Don's is more than just food. We're a celebration of flavor and family. From our team at Don's Seafood, we want to thank you for the last 90 years and cheers to many more together.
There's a time we all know is coming, but nobody knows just when. If you don't have a plan or you don't understand how or where to begin, at church funeral services, we'll handle it all with care and passion. Church funeral services.
Find more of what you're looking for at L'Auberge Baton Rouge. More of the games you love, more of the flavors you crave, more staycation relaxation. All this plus an exceptional staff. Add more to your story at L'Auberge Baton Rouge.
The Men's Network started when I went to a computer club meeting in the 7th grade that Brett organized. At that point, I had never met anyone that was as good at computers as Brett was. And by the 8th grade, we figured out that this was something that we could do professionally.
So we moved to Baton Rouge to go to LSU, and that's really where our business got planted.
Give Immense a call. Let us show you how IT should be done.
Are home problems turning?
Welcome back here to the Queen here in 1717. With me, I have the Momentum Building Services player feature interview of the night. Gehrig Lindberg so far this season, 26 games played, 4 goals, 12 assists for 16 points, and just coming back from the SPHL. So I got to ask, coming back into this locker room, is it a familiar place? Is it something that, you're just coming in and it's kind of like coming home where everything seems a little bit smaller than you remembered?
I mean, it's definitely always good coming back. It's nice kind of having to establish relationships with all the guys. So it's good seeing old friends because kind of every team you're on, you're there to make friends and have a good time and play some hockey, which is what we all love. So yeah, it's great to see these guys back. And no, it's just how I remembered the chaos, the yelling, the intensity. It's awesome. It's fun.
I more mentioned, just kind of like. It's just, when you're in a place for a long time, it's just one place where it's just like, it's like, oh, yeah, there's my bed, there's the cabinet, there's, everything is just, is it familiar to you is what I kind of mentioned.
Yeah, oh, for sure, yeah. I mean, I'm still back at the house with all the guys, and then, with how much I've traveled this year and years past, you you get to settle in quick and you just kind of, get used to that's how you live. So yeah, you become familiar with whatever, but it's always nice to be back here.
So what's one thing about Baton Rouge that you kind of miss when you were up in the SB?
Like the weather's obviously, everyone says that, and it is great, especially being from Buffalo where I'm, it's still 40 back home. So not all places in the SP or wherever else I've been kind of this type of weather. And then just Baton Rouge, I don't know, the people, like, you're kind of almost a little celebrity here because of the following we have, which is great to have, and we all love it. The Baton Rouge Zydeco fan base, we got Kaylee over there, just people that come out to support us. It's awesome, and it's great to see.
She is a bundle of energy. I love seeing her every single
Biggest
game.
Biggest fan.
By far.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, by far. And speaking of the weather, man, when we came back from that trip, I don't know if you made it into the house or not. By the time it started just pouring sheets.
Oh, the thunderstorms down here, I can't compare them to anything back home. The South has some crazy storms. So yeah, it's been crazy, but all in a good way.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I just know when I had texted my parents when I finally got home. It was around like 6 a.m. From Athens.
Yeah.
And it's like might as well have just taken a shower fully clothed.
I mean, it doesn't help that our bus doesn't have AC, so that's a work in progress. So
yeah.
So you get used to it.
Yeah, you do, and I think that's the one thing I really do like about that's in the South, because again, this is my first time coming down to the South, coming in from the desert of California. It was just,
oh wow.
Just you have a lot of diverse weather. There's a lot of rain, a lot of sunshine, but it always keeps you on your toes here in Louisiana. That's for sure.
No, 100%.
So, taking a look here, and I like to do this with a lot of guys, just a lot of your hockey history here. Just starting off in the juniors, you started off with the NA3, moving on to the OJHL, to the GoJHL, and the NA3HL, you played for the Texas Junior Brahmas where you played 11 games, scoring 1 goal, 3 assists for 4 points. Again, as a defenseman coming up in the pipeline in the juniors, what's one of the fundamentals that you kind of learned from the NA3HL?
I was just there for a brief time. It was nice. They gave me my first chance at playing juniors, and I was, just turned 16. So it was great experience, and then it was nice actually when I went in that season to the OJ. Moving up to Junior A was obviously a great step for me, and then I got to play with my brother too. So that was a lot of fun.
So, and you moved on to still full spirit of the OJHL for the past few seasons. So, obviously a little bit more playing time under your belt there, as well as with the Buffalo Junior Sabres of the U18 AAA. Again, from there, what's the main kind of difference, I guess, in competitive level from the NA3 to from the OJHL?
The OJ was really good. I mean, Ontario hockey is always just, Canadians can play a good puck, so it was nice. And obviously, I got to go closer to home. I lived with my grandmother in Richmond Hill there, so it was great to get back closer to home. And then, yeah, the NA3, it's a good Tier 3 Junior A, but it all kind of built me up to play in Ontario and do well, and that was a lot of fun. And then COVID happened, so then that's why I went back to AAA there with the Junior Sabres, because all of Canada shut down, but luckily a couple states in the U.S. were still playing hockey, so that was that kind of little interesting gap from already playing Junior A to going back to AAA, and then I found a home in Niagara Falls, which was great. Loved all my time in Niagara Falls. Shout out to the Canucks and Frankie P and my coaches and all my friends back there. Great time.
So, just talking about COVID real quick. I talked to a few players now where their season, for one reason or another, were affected by COVID. Some of them stopped playing altogether. Other of them just tried practicing with the team, and other of them even played with, COVID restrictions, obviously, wearing masks on the bench and stuff. How did that COVID season really affect you when you went to go play for the Sabres?
It was kind of just by chance. I had already, like I said, played Junior A, and I was hopeful that Ontario wouldn't get shut down because of COVID. But once I kind of felt like it was going to be done for sure, I just started skating back in Buffalo just at random rinks whenever I could get ice just to stay fresh and just because it's what I love to do. And somehow the Junior Sabres were practicing on the other sheet. So I just went over there and said, like, I'd love to bum some skates off you guys because I just want to keep playing hockey right now, and I have no idea what I'm going to be doing. And somehow the coach already knew who I was and said he'd like me to try out. So it was kind of a really, really weird scenario there, but it was cool how I got there. And then, I've met Pat Coletta a couple times, and he works the Junior Sabres organization, so, an old Sabres alumni. So it was cool to kind of get brought into that culture.
And just like you kind of told me before coming on air, it's all about that can-do attitude.
Exactly.
Just going to different rinks, just keeping I like to call it PMA, positive mental attitude.
Always.
So from U18 AAA, you go to playing the Niagara Falls Canucks of the Go HL for 1.5 seasons. So bulk of your junior career was actually played in the Go HL. What was that like going from the OJHL to the Go?
Yeah, the Goj is what most people call it. It was good. It was kind of what I needed because, depending on what team you're on, you get a different role or a different chance. And Stouffville was great for me to get games in, but I never played a ton or even kind of dominated at that level. So it was good to go from junior A to junior B and really like find a home with that team there. And it's just as competitive. I mean, my D partner was an OHL draft pick. They have a ton of young, good players that are just kind of starting their career there, and then they blossom to everywhere else. So it was really good to play there and not only kind of dominate at that level and build on my own skill, because hockey is all about confidence, and that's one thing that can be taken away really quickly. But if you could put yourself in the right circumstances, it grows exponentially. So,
and I'm not really a hockey professor, I guess.
Guru.
I'm not. Thank you. I'm not a hockey guru, but just. You mentioned a couple of defensive partners going up into the in juniors. When you were in juniors, was kind of developing chemistry with your defensive partner, was it encouraged, or was it one of those things where it's like your coaches like focus on your individual fundamentals?
It's always a team mentality. I mean, obviously, your coach wants every individual to do well. You want to do well, but that kind of happens within the team. And my first year there, it's all about, your D partners change, line mates change all the time, so you just got to be ready and have those relationships so you feel comfortable playing with whoever. And shout out Robillard. He was a 16-year-old. He was drafted and all that, and I was a 20-year-old finally playing, and he was the best D partner I could have just because he's hungry, and I became good buddies with him.
All right, so you move on from the juniors. You go on to play in the GMHL. You played for the Niagara Predators. Earning 20 points in 8 games played. So what would you say was the biggest skill bump between juniors and senior A?
Senior A is a slightly different league where guys get paid in and they're like old pro players. This was outlaw junior A technically. So it's very similar though, but it was good. It was kind of nice to still be able to play hockey. And there was a great group of guys there, and the coaching staff and everyone in the Predators organization was great to me, and I had a great time for my 8 games there. But it was nice because it was getting me ready to go play pro. So it was just kind of, I was talking to some teams at the time and still wanted to play hockey and hadn't figured it all out yet. So I got 8 games in with them and did well just because, outlaw junior A, you're still playing against 15, 16-year-olds, but now I'm 21 years old. So it was kind of a little men amongst boys, but it was fun.
Yeah, so is there any kind of like lessons learned or any experiences that you take out from the GMHL?
Yeah, I being a good teammate and being a leader and kind of being a guy that players leaned on a little bit was great. And, I leaned on some other players as well. It was a really good time, and just, like I said, kind of shaped me up to going pro. So that was all I could ask for.
All right, and speaking of going pro, your next move would be your biggest as you made your FPHL debut with the Blue Ridge Bobcats before getting called up to the SPHL. So with the brief time that you were with the Blue Ridge Bobcats, what was that like?
It was good. It was an interesting experience, to say the least. The living there is always an interesting situation. But again, it's kind of you're living with all the guys in one house. So, as much as kind of it sucks at certain points, you just get so close with the guys that, you learn to love it. If you don't love it here in this league or anywhere, how are you going to enjoy it? But everywhere I've been, I enjoyed and made really good friends with. So Blue Ridge was great to give me a start, and I played a lot there, and it definitely helped me get to the SPHL and for sure the player I am today.
So when you got that initial call up to the SPHL, what was the initial reaction for you?
I was super excited. It was just kind of situational call up, and I knew that it was for the away games for Quad City, but I couldn't have been more grateful, and came in, played decent minutes I might have been 20 at the time or just turned 21, so probably the youngest guy in the SP, and was probably the youngest guy in the Fed at the time too. So it was just great experience, and the games I played this year, I'm talking to some of the old veterans that are still on the Quad City team, that just great guys. So it's always it was unreal experience. Really fast hockey. Played Birmingham, who was a wagon last year, especially in the regular season, and luckily we stole one from them and snapped their, they had a 20-game home win streak. So it was intense hockey, but a lot of fun.
Dang, how was that? What was the team report from that 20 games?
Well, the first game that we lost there, we got ripped a new one. So we had to wake up for the second game, and we sure did it. I mean, it was still, I think, a one-goal game, but I played all the way through, and the D corps was kind of ran by the veterans Fournier, who's still in quad, and he was just rolling 5 or 60, and everyone got to play, and I think that was part of the reason we won. But yeah, just really fun, kind of quieting those fans down, and it was on their Star Wars night too. So there's grown men having lightsaber battles in the stands, and you're just like, what world am I in? It's a league of its own for sure.
Well, I mean, you kind of had a second taste of that. Rock Lobsters also had their Star Wars night.
Yeah. At this point now, I've played a couple Star Wars nights, and they're always the best. It's a good atmosphere, packs the barn. People love Star Wars. Who doesn't? So it's good.
Tell you what, I would have been one of those grown men with the lightsabers. Just like
you gotta.
If
you can't beat them, join them.
Exactly.
For sure.
And it's like you know what? If my team's losing, on the ice, I'm gonna win off the ice with this lightsaber battle.
Exactly.
Even your guys' jerseys was blue versus red. That was a real Star Wars motif.
Yeah.
There.
Oh yeah. Some subtle themes.
There you go. But now into this season, you started off with the Zydeco before being shipped off to the SPHL. Right before you went up to the SP, you were with the Zydeco. You spent a couple months away from Baton Rouge. You were in the SP, kind of roaming around. What was the experience like? Earnestly, spending up into the SP and going to a couple teams. How did you manage that? What was the kind of logistical part about that? A
lot of miles on the minivan. Shout out the minivan. That gave a lot of guys rides around town. So I left that back home. She's on the IR, but hopefully the minivan will come off the IR soon. Just got an oil change, so I think she's back. But logistically it was a lot of driving, but I love hockey, and being up in that league is everything. It's the next step, and then. Once you kind of can start to dominate there, the next step's the coast, and my brother just made that jump this year, so I know it's obtainable. I've been beating his butt for several years now, so I know I can get there, and it was a great experience. Every team I was on, I couldn't have met kind of some greater group of guys like in Fayetteville, Longer, Monkovich. There was just a lot of good players that brought you in like family. So I loved my time in Fayetteville, and just being able to kind of keep getting picked up was a good testament to, my will to want to stay at that level and to show I can. I'm putting up a couple numbers, a couple good fights, and just doing whatever the team needs me to do was all I could ask for.
And, coming in back to the FPHL, and I asked this to a lot of the guys who made the jump up to the SP, what's a couple of lessons learned and kind of goals for yourself that you have here down to the FPHL that'll try to get you back to the SP?
You just want to dominate. And I mean, even before I got called up, you want to dominate every level you're at. And when I was up in the SP, I wanted to dominate. It's just that competition in you that every hockey player has, especially to keep playing at this level after juniors, after college. You can always retire and get a real job, but it's fun to kind of live out the dream. And yeah, just coming back down, I just want to help out the team the best I can, and just always be good in the locker room. Everyone likes friends, no one likes enemies. So if you can make friends in the meantime while having a great time playing the game, it's the best.
And who couldn't be friends with this guy, But heading into this final weekend, it's push for the playoffs. It's something that no doubt throughout your levels that you've experienced. What's one thing that you're trying to, as a veteran presence here in the locker room, what's one kind of thing that you're trying to implement here into the locker room to say, hey guys, this is the time, back's against the wall, you just need to lock in?
Yeah, just consistency. And I mean, we've had so many practices, so many games at this point. We're 50 games into the season. You kind of, what you bring, and just to prepare yourself every night to be consistent, because it's the hardest thing in hockey as well. So, keep your consistency. Just as nice as the weather gets outside or anything like that, yeah, enjoy yourself. But this is a crunch time to the season, and everyone knows that. Yeah. No one's gotten here without playing hockey, so it happens in juniors, it happens in college. So everyone gears up in their own way, but just 6 games away from getting to where every game matters and every game is life and death. So that's kind of how we're treating it now. Every game is life and death, and points matter, and we're clawing for them.
And again, this is one thing I haven't been able to ask any of the guys from a hockey player's perspective. I know I asked Coach Everett Thompson this, but with your guys in the locker room, just with how close the standings have been, with even third place being obtainable, against the River Dragons, but worrying about the Blue Ridge Bobcats, right above you, and the Monroe Moccasins chopping at the heels. What's one thing that you do to kind of keep yourself away from that, kind of outside pressure to just try to play your game?
I really don't think much about it. Obviously, I follow Blue Ridge a little bit just because I have old teammates on that roster, and I know they're a solid team, but we'll when it comes crunch time, I feel confident playing against them, and yeah, Monroe, they're several points out, but obviously a threat, and it's just every game matters. So you try not to look at the standings and just play the games, and then it'll all kind of fall in line. You can put in the work, and then the result will come. So that's at least my mentality. I don't know what other guys do if they sweat over the analytics, but it is what it is.
No, they leave that to the Poindexters up in the booth like me.
Exactly.
I always look at the numbers, and it's just like, oh, it's just that's where I shine.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The number crunching from a guy who failed math in high school.
That's good. That's good. That's bad math for sure.
But just looking at yourself as an individual player real quick.
Yep.
And it's one thing that I asked, I believe it was Garrett Johnson who was on, and he was talking to me about, a little bit more of the fundamentals in terms of, defensive play. I kind of want to get into the weeds with you a little bit. When it comes to getting used to a defensive partner, again, in this league, there's not really a set partner. In the NHL, you have Cale Makar. He knows exactly who he's going to be playing with. But with yourself on any given game, you don't know exactly who you're going to be playing with. What's one thing you try to do to kind of build a rapport and build some chemistry with any of the guys who you may be on the line with?
I mean, right now I've been playing with the college guys, so they come in kind of fresh to the whole team, and I kind of try to be their anchor to become friends with the rest of the team. Obviously, I'm going to be spending the most time with them, talking with them the most, just strictly about hockey. So then outside hockey, I'll obviously continue that rapport and keep talking with them, and other guys are going to talk to them as well. So yeah, just being friends with everyone and kind of communicating on and off the ice, whether it's just hanging out, whether it's going to grab a sub or whatever. You just kind of become friends, and then it goes from there to where you can trust them on the ice, and that they'll do whatever it needs to be done for game time.
So heading into this final weekend, it's, again, very important for you. What's one thing that you're trying to work on here in your individual game to kind of get you ready here for this weekend against the Watertown Wolves?
Just obviously getting your body right. We just came off a 3-3, and then now we're going right back into another 3-3. So a lot of stretching, a lot of long showers to get loose, and rolling out everything that could be around that. Going to the gym earlier today, kind of just really making sure you feel good, because 3 games is a battle, and especially at this level, guys are out to take each other's heads off, and you gotta keep your head up and deal with it and kind of throw it back at them. So yeah, definitely just staying fresh.
And I know that head coach Everett Thompson mentioned a defensive first mentality, but I notice especially with yourself that you tend to like to hold on to the puck a little bit, going into the zone, kind of striking up a little bit of an offensive spark. You are pretty much a threat out there defensively. And if I were to put in a comparison, and again, this is the West Coast bias in me, but I would compare you to the likes of a Drew Doughty, where it's just like you have a offensive presence to you, to where towards the end of that weekend against Blue Ridge, notice a couple of guys trying to lock you down.
Yeah, no, thank you for the professional tire pump there. I'm nowhere close to Drew Doughty. I got to put on some pounds and get way better at hockey, but he was on Team Canada, and I'm pretty far from that. But no, that's awesome. Just try and dictate the play, and just control the game the best you can, whether that's holding onto the puck or kind of extending plays and leading as that way. That's I'm going to try to do whatever I think is kind of best in that game. You just get a feel for it, and when you're feeling confident with the puck, you don't want it off your stick, or you dish it, and you want it right back. So just kind of playing with that confidence has helped the team out for sure. And whether that's offensively or locking guys down and being physical, whatever it takes.
Yeah, and again, just taking a look at your defensive prowess here for a little bit. Again, when guys seem to be coming in to the defensive zone, you seem to be trying to ride them towards the boards a little bit. You try to create a little bit of space between yourself and the goaltender. And not only that, but you're trying to smother them on the zone entry. What's the play there? What's one of your goals when the guys are coming at you with the puck?
One thing that was a huge leap kind of for my time in Roanoke and Peoria was just really tight gaps. I mean, you don't want to give up any free lines. So any free lines meaning the blue line, the red line, center line, or the other blue line. Those are all kill zones. You don't want to give them any free ice. Why would you? So the tighter you are, and kind of the more you can funnel them in, or at least knock them off the puck and up to where your D partner can come in and pick up the loose change. That's kind of my whole mentality. Is why give them an inch when they'll probably just take a mile if you do that. So yeah, really just tight as you can and be as physical as you can for sure, because you're allowed to hit in this game, you're allowed to fight. It's a great game, so might as well do it.
And you seem to be doing that pretty well. And in terms of creating space and again taking space here from any of the forwards, how do you know that you're doing your job? Essentially, is going to be my question. I was about to ask in a roundabout way, but how do you know that you have control of the play when the guy comes into the zone?
When he doesn't score.
Well, that's easy.
Yeah. When there's a 0 up on the board for them, and we got a couple in their net, you're doing your job right, at least to the best of your ability, and mistakes happen. No one goes out there trying to make a mistake, so you just kind of take them when you can, and stay hot when you can. So that's probably my mentality when anyone's coming down. Is I hope I get it out. I hope I get it 200 feet, and that we're in their offensive zone and making them do what they just try to get me to do. So.
Yeah, and again, just heading into this final weekend, you seem to have kind of meshed well here with Everett Thompson's system here with the Zydeco. And when it comes to the offensive part of the game, I asked this when I was back with the Bismarck Bobcats of the NAHL. I was talking to one of their defensive coaches. And I'll ask the same thing to you. you have a position where you're on both sides of the puck. You know, you're on the offensive side of the puck on the power play, and you're also on the defensive side of the puck where you play on a couple of penalty kill lines, as well as, you know, just regularly being a defensive partner or a defensive pair. What would you say is the more kind of like tiring of the two, the offensive side of the puck or the defensive?
It depends where you are in the shift. I mean, if you're getting hemmed in for 30, 40 seconds, it definitely dawns on you that you gotta go skate as hard as you can at that guy and get your pin in the corner, or else they're gonna keep keeping you in the zone, and it might become a 1.5, 2 minute shift. So the defensive side of things can kind of get wearing on you because you can't change. You got to do your job, or at least hopefully get nice and give yourself a breath. Where when you're in the offensive zone, you can always change, you know, create a cycle, finish it out, and go get fresh guys on. So offensively, you know, you're always able to stay fresher just because there's not that pressure. Where in the D zone, you know, everything's kind of life or death, and that's how it should be treated. So you got to go balls out.
All right, from Mr. Balls Out, Gehrig, Lindberg. Any final words here for the fans?
No, just that we play Friday through Sunday, and feel free to come out. And thanks for listening. I had a blast up here.
Oh yeah, and I honestly, I have to say, you know, it's been a privilege having a lot of you guys up here on the stage. You know, thank you so much for coming out, man.
Yeah, no, it's great to have you. You do an unreal job, you know, traveling with us, not easy hours and all that. So we appreciate having you, Brian.
Dude, I love the track. I think that's a uncommon opinion here between broadcasters. I know a lot of the broadcasters are just like, you know, long bus rides. I like hearing you guys, you know, just little inside jokes
the shenanigans for sure.
Yeah, but you know, it's been a blast here for Baton Rouge. It's been a blast here up here in the Fed. You know, I'm looking forward to more of it. And you know what? I'm gonna call my shot here. I'm looking forward to doing it again here in the playoffs.
Here we go. Sounds good.
So, for Gehrig, Lindberg, my name is Brian Flores. You can watch Mr. Lindberg here. You can take off your headset. It's all right.
Can I mic drop?
Yeah, you can mic drop.
Oh, perfect. Peace.
And there he goes, Mr. Gehrig Lindberg. So, if you want to get a chance to take a look at Mr. Lindberg here in the last couple of homestands here against the Watertown Wolves next week, you can call 225-515-PUCK, or you can email Lucy at brzydeco.com for any group ticket information, or if you want, you can email Hope at brzydeco.com for any ticket sales, or you can go to the Ticketmaster page. I think that's going to be the easiest for you. Or, you know what? Visit the box office down at the River Center. Nothing like a little face-to-face conversation here. And it's nice to have a little bit of quality time between you and me before we head on to the final part of this show. So thank you so much for joining us here at the Queen here in 1717. And we hope that you can join us here Friday, Saturday, and Sunday as the Zydeco are going to be taking on the Watertown Wolves this week. And next week, they're going to be taking on the Monroe Moccasins at 7:05 on Thursday, April 10th. And the 11th and 12th, they're going to be taking on the Mississippi Sea Wolves. But this next week, it's going to be against the Watertown Wolves. And make sure you guys are taking a look here at the promo where the Zydeco are going to be taking on a gauntlet here to try to clinch the playoffs. And if they do, you can order your playoff tickets right now. So take a look here. They're going to be playing either the 4th seed or the 5th seed. That's going to be where this weekend and next weekend kind of irons out. And that one's going to be on Tuesday the 15th. It's going to be a one-game playing round, so you can get your ticket information by emailing hope at brzydeco.com for any playoff ticket inquiries. They're on sale now. And the first round is going to be starting on the 17th of April. So until this Friday, you have been listening to The Coach's Show, and you can always join me back on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday against the Watertown Wolves here on Zydeco TV, here on the Zydeco YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you guys have a great night and a most pleasant good evening. Until Friday, my name is Brian Flores, bringing you, as always, Zydeco hockey content. See you around.
Plumbing and electrical to save the day. From electrical issues to keeping you comfortable, plumbing repairs, and even generators, we do it all. Southern Air Cooling, Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical, your one-stop solution for electrical, AC, plumbing, and generators. If you need us to save the day for you, call or visit us online at southernnairbr.com.